Thank you for watching my other video segments about my experience being a transgender man. I'd like to finish all this off by addressing just a few more common fears and points of confusion that are totally normal. Being trans is really hard, and I wouldn't wish that experience on anyone, especially not a kid, unless there's an absolute guarantee that they actually are trans and won't regret it later on. My school did not change my sex, and my doctors made sure that I did not transition on a whim. Being trans is really hard. Why would anyone want to take that road unless they absolutely had to because they knew it was absolutely right for them? It's a ton of work, it takes a long time, and I got bullied. The last thing any kid wants is more homework and getting bullied. Plus, it's dangerous. Not the surgeries. The surgeries and medical intervention are actually quite safe because we already have a lot of laws and regulations and research that make sure it stays safe, just like how you would for any important medical procedure. But being trans is hard because of how little social support there is. A lot of trans kids go missing, are killed, and even commit suicide. Those are people's children, just like your children. A study found that 32% of LGBT children didn't go to school for at least one day because they felt unsafe. 44% experienced physical harassment. 22% experienced stronger violence. 61% reported the attacks, and of that 61%, about 31% said that their schools did nothing to help them. You absolutely do not need to know all those specifics. The main themes that matter is the idea that it's really hard to be trans when you're not accepted by the people around you. It was very difficult for me to get to the point where I am right now. It took a long time. I did everything completely by the book, and now I feel fantastic. As a side effect of being seen and treated as the gender that I actually am, I've completely lost my social anxiety. I'm totally confident. I feel like a new man. Not only do I feel normal, but I have tons of amazing friends. I'm having a blast in college, and I genuinely feel really good about my life. If I wasn't actually transgender and I just had other mental issues that weren't properly diagnosed, then transitioning would definitely have made that way worse. But I know that I am definitely trans because it made it so much better. I'm the happiest that I've ever been. Everyone deserves to feel good about themselves, and everyone's road to achieving that is different. But that should be your choice because you deserve the freedom to be who you want to be, how you want to do that. This is all about real people and freedom. People being transgender isn't really that new or radical, and it doesn't go against the things we love or our traditional values, because I love my family and I love our traditions. I love cutting down trees and chopping wood with my dad, since he learned how to do that from his dad, and this makes me feel like not just a man, but a man who's part of a long line of proud, wood-chopping American men. I really value these kinds of traditions, and me being transgender doesn't take anything away from that. I value my family. I value feeling good about who I am. I value truth, safety, and freedom. And I think everyone else deserves that too. I don't care if they're trans or not. Just as much as I wouldn't want anyone who is trans to accidentally somehow think that they aren't trans, I would absolutely hate for someone who isn't trans to somehow accidentally think that they are trans and then have to face a lot of the same challenges that I did. This sounds really confusing and complicated, but fortunately, the solution is quite simple. Just talk about it. Be honest, be open, ask questions, just talk about it with your family, your friends, your neighbors, anyone who you love and care about. Because being transgender isn't radical or new or anything to be afraid of. Neither is not being transgender. If the way you were born feels right for you, that's outstanding. I never want that to have to change for you. We can't win by beating each other. We win by realizing that we're all on the same side and getting to know each other. When we don't talk about things or really listen to each other, it's easy to forget how human we all are, especially when we're talking about different kinds of pain that maybe not everyone has experienced before, such as gender dysphoria. It's really easy to write that off and not even think of it as a kind of pain. But one thing that you do know is you know how good it feels to be seen and treated as the gender that you truly are. So why can't people like me be given that same freedom? I'm a transgender man. Now you know how I got there, you know what that means, and you know that it isn't that radical or scary or even that confusing. You know that I'm just a normal guy. But there's also lots of other LGBT identities out there. There's even many identities that I've probably never even heard of. And that can sound really confusing and overwhelming, especially when the media really just likes to throw out so many different names and acronyms and make it feel like you have to know what everything is all the time. And that can seem scary. But fortunately, there's a shortcut. Relax. The media acts like you have to know everything and understand everything, but you really don't. It's okay. For example, I don't understand what it feels like to want to be a woman. Heck, I even tried it and I did not like it. But I know that some people's feelings are naturally different from mine, and I just accept that as okay. And I've met people who have labels that I didn't understand. At first, I thought that this was really confusing, and I got angry because I felt that since I couldn't understand it, it shouldn't exist. Sort of like the formulas from chemistry class. But just like how there's people out there who like chemistry, there's people out there who have identities that don't really make sense to me, and that's okay. And they're actually really nice people. I never thought I'd say it, but some of my best friends have identities that I don't really understand. But that's totally fine. It doesn't prevent us from still being really good friends, going fishing together, going to parties together, doing homework together. Anything I do with my man friends, I do with my friends of other identities. And I didn't think that right away, nor do I expect anyone else to. I still don't understand what it feels like to be that way, just like how I don't understand what it feels like to enjoy chemistry. And that's okay, because I'm a simple guy. At the end of the day, I just like hanging out with my friends, and I want them to feel good about themselves. To me, feeling good about myself means being a man. To some people, feeling good about themselves means being a woman. And to some people who have other identities, that means something else, and that's okay. And of course, to show respect to your friends who have other identities, it's still good to do some research and know some basic information about what that is, just to show that you care about them. They probably already know about your identity, so it's only fair to try learning a little bit about theirs. And I know this can sound kind of tough and confusing and, oh my goodness, more work to do, but that's why here at Discovering Freedom, we're still making some more educational videos to try to cover as many topics about this as we can. So stay tuned if you'd like to learn about how you can support all kinds of friends. So in general, no, you do not have to understand how everyone feels, but it is nice to learn some easy tricks for how you can help your friends, family, and neighbors feel good about themselves. The biggest takeaway from this presentation, the main idea that I hope that we'll at least mostly agree on, is that we're not all that different, and we all value truth, safety, and freedom. I told a story a little while ago about how I really like chopping wood with my dad because my grandpa taught him how to chop wood, and how this made me feel really connected to my family and our traditions and being a man in a really beautiful way. But I never actually got to experience chopping wood with my grandpa because I waited until after he died before I came out of the closet and started telling people that I'm a transgender man. And I did this because I was afraid that he wouldn't accept me for who I was. But looking back, I think that that actually damaged my relationship with him because he never got to know me for who I really am, and we never got to chop wood together. I hope that this never happens to anyone else, and that everyone's able to stay close with their families and continue beautiful traditions like this in every small town across Wisconsin. And we can achieve this when we allow our loved ones and ourselves to be our true selves.